I've had no issues expressing my emotions throughout most of my life. It's holy crap. I am not going to get through a dog movie without bawling. So yeah, no, I have no problem showing emotion associated with reactions. And I think my audience has come to expect that of me. I want my audience to see who I am. And if that includes tears, so be it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Reactorverse Podcast, where we interview all your favorite creators in the reaction space. I'm joined today by a friend of the channel. It is James from his channel actually, Awesome US Movies. James, thank you for being here.
You bet.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a long time coming, for this. I know that you're friends with a mutual friend of ours from the channel, Adam, from his channel, FWCI. And I've had him on for a couple times for our Crossing the Streams show that we do. And it's always blessed to have him on. And yeah, I know that you two know each other in the space. And so I wanted to have you on just, again, as a mutual friend. So I know you're good people, if Adam says so.
Yeah, I've worked with Adam several times. I've used him as an editor, actually. And him and I have talked about collabing several times, but the whole Australia-Iowa time zone is a problem. Yeah. Sometimes I'm up very, late, and that's about the only time I can actually communicate with him. One of the things that occurred recently with Adam is he talked me into watching 2 South Park episodes.
Right, I just saw that, yeah.
Never seen in my entire life. And I am, or was, a very active World of Warcraft gamer for 10-ish years playing WoW. And he told me that this cartoon exists. It's for adults, it's not for children. And they had a specific episode for World of Warcraft players.
Right.
And so that intrigued me. And so I watched both those, and that has since been, he edited them for me, and I've since released that over on my main channel, which is Awesome US Movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's doing well. It surprised me. I watched a World of Warcraft episode, then an episode about baseball, because he knows I very much love baseball. And both those episodes were quite funny. So now they have talked me into watching a movie. Apparently there's a South Park movie.
Yeah.
And that would get me more related to the characters, because I just didn't quite, once, like a couple of the kids, I didn't even understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
I don't know any of their names or the history of but since then, I've been told that there's like 26 or 27 seasons of this thing. It's been around for a long time, so I'm intrigued into seeing what the movie is like.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while that the show's been on. There's a lot to unpack there. There's an evolution of it, as it goes on from the beginning to the, more seasoned, stories that they have. So there's like a little more complexity there.
Well, and if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I go into everything blind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch any previews. I try not to look at any posters, any backgrounds, anything until I've seen the actual piece. And then I go out and I look for posters and I look for backgrounds and stuff like that, so I can do the editing process.
Exactly.
I talked to okay, so let's start with the beginning. The backstory on my channel is that I am an ex-Iowa farmer who grew up in the absolute middle of nowhere, and we only had 3 channels on our TV, and we didn't watch it. Unless it was like Wheel of Fortune or the news. We have big weather issues here in Iowa, so you're watching the news a lot. And I became a massive bookworm, and I am a massive bookworm to this day. But my oldest children, who are not bookworms at all, convinced me to start a reaction channel and start, diving into pop culture and going back the last 40, years and watching awesome U.S. movies. The U.S. aspect of it, and I'm sure you're aware of this space, the U.S. aspect has more to do with copyright law, right, and less to do with, I only watch U.S.-based movies.
Right.
We are very protected in this space from a copyright infringement associated with reaction specifically.
Mhm.
You start working with Japanese content and UK based content. Sometimes that can be a little shifty, and you get into some difficult. Entire channels have been deleted because they were watching Japanese based movies,
Mhm.
and they came in and wiped the entire channel out.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue. Yeah, there's a lot. You open a can of worms when you start reaching out into foreign territory films, and yeah, as you mentioned, growing up, in Iowa, as on a farm, that was sort of the impetus of what really had the seeds for the channel to grow, is because you didn't have an opportunity to watch a lot of shows or films. You were more into books growing up, as you said. I kind of want to start with that, just in terms of your history with storytelling through books and through literature. Were there any sort of specific, favorite, genres or books that you had growing up from there?
Yeah, I'm very sci-fi fantasy
Mhm.
type of scenarios. You're talking about Lord of the Rings. You're talking about Game of Thrones, which is actually not Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is an HBO series based off of a set of books called The Song of Ice and Fire.
Right.
Ice and Fire is the name of two specific swords that exist in that world.
Mhm.
And they changed it over to Game of Thrones, which I'm actually watching now for a Patreon exclusive, and eventually it's getting edited. It will be released on YouTube.
Right.
But the differences between the books and the show are drastic.
Yeah.
I'm picking up on things that didn't exist at all in the books,
Yeah.
and a bit shocked by how they portray these books on HBO compared to the books themselves. Anyway, so I lean really hard in books with science fiction, fantasy, things along those lines. Interesting characters. I'm really intrigued by super interesting characters.
Mhm.
There's a book called The Fold that's fantastic. The protagonist in the book has an inexhaustible memory. He remembers every aspect of every moment of every single day.
Right.
It's not that he can. It's not like you can see pages, you can read books, things like that. No. He remembers the emotional state. Like
Mhm.
every aspect of that moment is in his entire life. His brain is so inexhaustible that he can bypass any type of test associated with memory or anything like that, right?
Right.
So it's such a problem, though. He forces himself into this bubble where he's a high school teacher, even though he's one of the smartest beings in the entire world. And the DoD, Department of Defense, for those that don't know, they are trying to get him to work on projects because he's the smartest person in the entire world. And so there's very interesting aspects there with him as his mental, and so interesting characters, sci-fi, fantasy, that along those lines.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, like getting into the later stage of life, as you mentioned, with your children, being sort of an inspiration behind the channel. What was the bridge there once you had children? They were growing up, and I guess they were probably getting into film and TV. What was, I guess, the sort of generational bridge between that in terms of pastimes, entertainment, like with them getting into a medium that you never had the opportunity to get into yourself, I guess, before the channel, when they were getting into films and
Well,
film?
I mean, it wasn't that so much. It was that we had to sell the farm, the costs were too high and things like that, and so we moved on with our lives. And my sister, my parents, they moved on with their lives and started watching movies and started watching television, and I stayed in my bubble. I liked my books.
Right.
I didn't care about TV. I didn't care about movies or actors or any of that. I've never read a People magazine in my entire life.
Right.
So while they're off going to movies and watching stuff, I'm sitting in my little corner reading books. And now I've converted over to audiobooks because I, of course, have a full-time job, and keeps my mind. I'm an auditor. I deal with data constantly. I can actually do my work because I'm dealing with programming and numbers, and I can listen to an audiobook that has words. And they're two separate pieces of my brain, and I keep them completely separate as I do my job.
Yeah.
But if I go to write an email, I have to pause right? And
Yeah.
then I can write the email because I can't do words and words at the same time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as soon as I'm done with my email, I can turn my audiobook back on and keep on moving.
That makes sense. Yeah. I envy people who can listen to either music or audiobooks while they work. Because I'm an editor by trade, a video editor, so I can't listen to music as it works. I have to be listening to the material. So
Right.
that's something I wish I kind of had the luxury for. I love doing what I do, but yeah, I wish I had the sort of a passive time to just listen to some good books, some good music once in a while.
I go through books like people go through pants. I'll go through a book a week, easy.
Yeah, and that's just through the audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting doing that. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think on Audible, I think I have like 300 or 400 books I've read through Audible already.
Nice. And and you're getting up there with the movies now,
I
what you have for the channel.
So Awesome US Movies has been around for, I just was notified a couple of weeks ago by YouTube that Awesome US Movies has been around for 4 years.
Right.
And my editor is excited about that. And my Patreons and YouTube is excited because I'm going to do a best of James. We're going to do a couple of comedy bits. I'm known in my channel for comedy. My laugh is quite contagious, and if you can watch one of my comedy videos without chuckling at all, you're a stiff person. You're a difficult person.
Yeah, a good laugh goes a long way. Yeah, for these.
Yeah, but I'm also known for I pick up on things very quickly because of my voracious book reading. And as you read more and more and more, you start to pick up on subtle cues that exist within the books, and they, come to fruition later on. And like people were so pissed when I picked up on Sixth Sense, like, not even halfway through the movie. I picked up on the end of that pretty quickly, and
I mean, that's definitely a very good point. I brought this up with a couple of other channels who have similar backgrounds, where like books and literature, where they're it's sort of go to pastime growing up, and now they're getting into the movies through their channel, and the sort of expository nature of books from films is like very different. A book can flesh out details of a scene or a character very easily, whereas in a movie, if you see any sort of details being focused on or explained, you kind of know that's a detail that's going to play an important role later. So like it cues you in. So again, if you're really used to books, that might cue you in a little faster of like, oh, that detail like is because this is going to happen later because this is and this. So yeah, so I'm interested, going from books to movies, between mediums, what are some of like the I guess skills or traits that you've carried from literature that you've been able to apply towards your movie going experience?
Well, I think a couple aspects is, one, picking up on things along those lines, but two, character development, right? Seeing, like, one of my favorite genres, I guess, is coming of age stories, where you're starting off with this adolescent and they have these very specific attributes associated with them. And as they move through, right, this storyline, you're picking up on these, that exact moment, that moment right there is a trigger for that character. And that's going to develop that character in the next 30 minutes. You're going to see massive changes just from this one little, scene. 2 minutes of a film can change a person's entire life in a film, right? That's all it takes. And when it comes to books, it's not a 2-minute scene. Yeah. It's it's 2 chapters of something occurring. It's not a single entity. Usually it's multiple things, unless it's a really like emotional state change, like someone almost drowning, right? You're going to get a massive change right away because of this emotional state that occurs to them.
Yeah.
Near-death experiences, things along those lines.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Within a book, you can time, I think, is more malleable. You can have time to sort of slow down or speed up, within a few paragraphs, a few chapters, of like what is really happening to the characters. Whereas in a movie, it's kind of hard to convey that sometimes because you're living it with them in real time, or there's a montage and that conveys like, a lot more time sort of going on. So things like that, yeah, the sort of visual element of it, like conveys different things compared to storytelling to writing. Yeah.
Every good movie's got a montage.
Yeah. But getting into the channel itself, I know you mentioned very early on that there were sort of two factors to the channel. It was your children sort of inspiring you to get into this and to get into the medium, but there was also an element of you said like a friend of yours would also make fun of you for not having seen some of these films. So there's a bit of like inspiration, bit of like, I guess, shame to get into it. So I guess, what was the story there?
Shame is real. Like, how many conversations do you have on a weekly or monthly basis where a movie quote is brought up or referenced in some manner? For the majority of my life, I never picked up on any movie quotes ever.
Right.
So one of my friends, yes, the very first 4 movies or 5 movies I think I watched on the channel were Star Wars, because it's a huge piece of our entire, just our society as a whole. There's always Star Wars references.
Yeah.
And, I understand a bit of those now as I look back, and of course. But the thing that they thought was hilarious is that I don't know who common actors or actresses are. I didn't know who Tom Hanks was.
Right.
It's a huge actor. I don't know who Brad Pitt is. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things is I think I was watching, Star Wars 1 or 2 or something like that. And Samuel L. Jackson. And I'm like, oh, that guy looks really familiar. I think I saw him on a credit card commercial before. And I brought that up in my reaction, and I got roasted over the coal. Oh, yeah, that guy from the credit card commercial, Samuel L. Jackson, he's just one of the biggest movie stars in the entire world.
Samuel Jackson, best known for his role as the credit card commercial guy. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And like, the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the Bueller guy, right? I knew him from the eye drop.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, growing up, I think he's a known actor, but I think he was sort of equally known for that commercial because it was so prolific when it was on air.
Was it? Okay. I don't even know these things.
Yeah. Because it's also an iconic, sort of his tone, his demeanor, comes through.
And it's gotten to the point now where we had to create an actor movie database for Awesome US Movies to keep track of every single movie that I've seen, and then every single actor that I've seen at least twice. And I have a wonderful person named Eric that emails me on a weekly basis and keeps that thing updated based on whatever movies I've seen or haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm over 400 movies at this point that I've seen, and it's thousands of actors at this point that I've seen.
Yeah, and as you obviously starting with the channel, it's a blank slate, so it's a lot to sort of to be the open canvas of cinema to learn about. But as you go on, you start to pick things up. You start to recognize actors, directors, like themes, genres, tones. So it helps you sort of piece together once you're watching it to understand, like, oh, I recognize, yes, like Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator, in your Village Action. I recognize, so and so from this, and it kind of helps bridge the gap a little bit, so you kind of know, like, oh, you get invested in a little bit more quickly. That's what movie stars are. That's what directors are. And as you started with the channel and you had that open canvas, were there any so again going from books to visual medium, were there any surprises? Were there any sort of things like you sort of recognize right away of like, oh, this is like different, special, this is like new to me, getting to movies?
As I progress in my movie curriculum, is the way I'd like to state, is I'm noticing a lot of actors work together in movies. It doesn't matter what the genre is. Doesn't matter. They like, hey, I worked with this person in this other movie. You want to bring them in for a bit part, or you want to bring them in for this other part. I'm
Right.
seeing the same people working together over and over and over again. And I just find it really interesting that there's this little ecosystem that exists in the movie world
Mhm.
where it's who you know, like who do you know that would be good for this part?
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I worked with them on this and I worked with them on that. And I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
That there's so many faces and so many personalities that exist as the people that want to be actors or actresses, right?
Mhm.
That they continuously bring in their buddies or friends. And it seems odd to me that this is a known thing that's happening in the film industry.
Yeah.
And they're not opening the doors. Like, getting your foot in the door, I'm assuming, is a hard thing in this
Mhm.
industry.
Yeah.
And that actors and actresses themselves wouldn't be more willing to crack that door open a little bit for new talent coming in. Because here, like something I'm seeing is I have a love for Arnold Schwarzenegger and for Stallone,
Right.
right? These are prolific characters that I've seen many times. I know people are going to yell at me. I need to watch more Rocky movies. I've only seen two, and I know there's like 5 or more
Mhm.
Rocky movies. I've only seen 2 of them.
Yeah.
And he's known for other roles. I started watching him as Rambo. I've got a couple of those down, but I think there's more of those. Where are these people now? Like, who's replacing the Arnold Schwarzenegger in films now? Who's replacing the Sylvester Stallone in movies now? I don't see that. I guess The
Yeah.
Rock would be the only one that I would put in that genre, and I've only seen him in like 2 movies.
Yeah, that's an interesting point or perspective to have, particularly with, again, your experience getting into the history of cinema and, like, the evolution of it through the films that you've been watching. The movies and the industry as itself, is a never growing, entity. And so we go through phases, we go through waves with it right now, over the last, like, almost decade at this point. People have, you said, there's like been the death of the movie star. There's not as much movie stars anymore, like Arnold, Sylvester, like people like that who are like, like they're the focus. Like, it's an Arnold movie, it's a Sylvester Stallone movie. That's why you got to go see it. Now, you get some iconic actors who are coming up, but it's kind of more rare when, like, the actor it's themselves is a selling point. Now you get it through more the hook of the genre, hook of the story or the director. So
Okay.
it's things like that. And as far as like Arnold and Sly specifically go on, I think some of them have been not replaced, but like it has evolved into, again, the IP of the genre, which is, like, I think the biggest action genre or IP I can think of right now is John Wick, which is Keanu
Okay.
Reeves. And so, like, that's like, and people know that as, like, not just Keanu Reeves, but like John Wick, the character, is what's iconic, what draws people to it. So they make a John Wick 5, people are going to go see it because it's John Wick 5. Not so much because it's Keanu. Keanu's, like, star power doesn't translate over to, other films if it's like a drama or a comedy or whatever. Like, he's definitely a star, but people go in droves to see John Wick is because of the action that's associated with that character specifically. Less
That's
so him as an
interesting.
actor. Yeah.
See, now I don't know any of this. I figured that the Keanu being associated with John Wick makes it a popular film, not the character, but the actual actor portraying the character.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen like 3, 4 Keanu Reeves movies, I think. I saw John Wick 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Speed, Point Break. Oh, The Matrix.
Oh, The Matrix. Yeah, of course.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I've only seen 1 Matrix, 2 John Wicks. I don't know about the other ones.
Yeah.
So I thought that the character exists because of Keanu Reeves, and you're saying the character Keanu exists because of the character.
Essentially, yeah. Or particularly, for John Wick as a specific example, I think it's because that was a film made by Chad Stahelski, who was a former stuntman who knew Keanu through the stunt work that they would do together. And so he made this movie, and they were friends, so he got Keanu to be in the first film. I remember when the first film came out, people were sort of dubious about it because they were like, I don't know, this like seems like almost like a parody of an action film, like My Dead Dog, I'm gonna go for revenge on that. And so people were a little like looking at it a little side-eyed. It was the execution of it that really sort of made it shine. The action, how well it was shot, how well it was performed, that sort of made people latch onto it, and that inspired the subsequent films. But Keanu himself, has been associated with things like The Matrix, but also associates with dramas like The Lake House and so on. So he's sort of like an actor that you wouldn't expect to think like specifically action, but now he does have an action sort of like iconic role under his belt that can apply to other things. But he's still branching out. He still does some comedies, some dramas now. So again, it's not like he took that and then said like that's going to be my whole bread and butter now. He's still an actor that wants to start do other things.
Keanu did drama and comedy.
Yeah, I mean, his first, one of his early big roles is Bill from Bill and Ted, which is like
oh wait, I did see that.
Yeah.
So, that one, okay.
Yeah,
not a good movie. Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny. So you saw Speed with him and Sandra Bullock, who would later then rejoin together on The Lake House, which was a romantic drama. So maybe you'll see that at some point. Yeah. So at this point in film, as we stand with it now, I think actors, are usually, probed to try other things. Yes, certain actors, I think like Jason Statham is a good example of someone who like he, is an action star. Like he loves doing action. He said very publicly, like, I do one thing very well, which is action, kicking ass. Like, so I'm going to stick with that, and so that could be his bread and butter. So if you see a Jason Statham movie, you can expect it to be an action film.
I don't think I know who that is.
Yeah, you I'm not sure if you've seen one of his films yet. Yeah, he's been a lot of things. You might run into one of his films eventually. But it's yeah. So it's just again from your perspective to hear what sort of things start with from again the iconic days of film with movie stars and actors, and getting into I guess your curriculum with it, like you said. Do you have any sort of taste now for it, in terms of like genres, stories, like IPs, like franchises, some stuff that you go into it, like, I love this now?
My door's as open as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But so the way my channel works at this point is Fridays are picked by my Patreon members.
Mm-hmm.
Because we put my boys and I and my sister, we kind of come together and come up with genres, like what type of like 80s action or 80s comedy or 2000 comedy, whatever, and then they pick 5 different movies, and then they get voted on by the Patreon members, and so that becomes a Friday movie. And then myself or my boys or my sister, or if a private request comes in for a specific movie that I've already reacted to, that might get edited up for a Monday. So I think I have like almost 60 or 80 different movies on Patreon that exist as full reactions that don't exist on YouTube.
Right.
Because they just haven't been edited yet, which is a difficult, long task. You know about this.
Yeah.
Or it was horrible and I hated it and it was a bad reaction. Like, I watched a movie called The Flintstones. I know who the Flintstones are.
Right.
But what a horrible movie. The practical effects, I'm a big practical effects fan. I love practical effects. They look fantastic.
Right.
The modern effects are pretty much there. Like Avatar was all modern effects and it was absolutely amazing. Right. But a lot of films get it wrong, and practical effects always get it right. So the practical effects in that movie were great. I really love that. The storyline, the characters, the people were horrible. So it exists as a full reaction. And I watched it because someone specifically requested me to watch it. Yeah. But it'll never get edited for YouTube because it was just, I tore it to pieces.
Yeah. And so is that a deliberate choice then to, like, you prefer to keep any sort of soured experience behind the Patreon, just to sort of keep the YouTube more positive experience?
I have released soured experiences before.
Okay.
What I won't release is something that's not enjoyable for the people on the other end of the camera. So there's a movie I also watched called Idiocracy or something like that. Worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I am a very intelligent person. And I was stupider after watching that movie. And I understand it's supposed to be stupid. It's supposed to be making fun of the stupidity of culture and society and things like that. I get it. They took it way too far. They took it way too far.
Right. Yeah. So
I am not a smart. My brain cells died in that movie.
So I guess that goes into like again what I was referencing is like you start to develop like oh this isn't for me, this sort of thing isn't for me as much depending on certain elements of the film. Have you sort of been able to recognize things that I guess sort of cue you into the film a little more as you go on, like in terms of like
I'm a big
character story arcs,
comedy
stuff like
person.
that. Mm-hmm.
I love a good comedy. I just recently released Police Academy that I've never seen before. I laughed my butt off at that movie. And I'll probably watch the next one and see how that does on the channel. Also, if something bombs on the channel, I'm not going to waste my time or effort. And in the end, this is a small business.
Right.
Yes, I'm getting an education of sorts out of it. But the whole point of the channel is to get to a big enough base that maybe this could turn into some type of career down the road, right? And I'm not a young man. I'll admit that. It may be a long road, but I'm nearing 30,000 subscribers. I'm in the top 10 or 15% of all YouTube channels that exist on YouTube at this point.
Right.
So it's not a small channel at this point. So if it gets 1,000 views, I'm not gonna. If there's a second one, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It's the channel. It's not penetrating enough of my audience for it to matter. So yeah, there is some stuff that I'm just like, okay, well that didn't do well. So I'm making a mental note on what my channel, what they pay attention to. I think one of the key things with my channel is I'm an older demographic compared to a lot of younger channels,
right.
And my audience is quite even. Like I'm going to have a collab with another channel, and they're 97% male audience,
right?
And my audience is about 54% male.
All right,
and so I'm dealing with a completely different set of people that I want to entertain. Like something that did very well on my channel is a movie called The Help, which did very well on my channel. And of course that skews quite female. The other channel that I'm talking about, I think they did The Help and it did horribly.
Yeah.
Because it's 97% male. They want action. They want things blowing up, right? They want, they're not looking for a heartfelt story about race relation issues and things like that. So, yeah, I have to pay attention like any business should. They should pay attention to their demographics and who their target audience is.
Yeah. And then, it's important. Again, the channel itself is, an experience for you, for sure. But like there's an evolution to it that you have to sort of cross the threshold where it is sort of a small business, as you said. And you get to sort of take into consideration, how do we keep growing? How do we sort of keep things, moving so we can like keep this up? Otherwise it could become stagnant and we can't do it at all.
That happened about 2 years ago. For the first 2 years of my entire channel, I edited every piece of material that was released on the entire channel. Editing a full-length movie is a process, and it's not a short process. It takes, for a 2-hour movie, it's between 4 and 6 hours of editing time. You're basically watching the movie 2 or 3 different times. Throughout that process. And doing that was a massive strain on my family. And my family is one of my most important things in my life. And so I'm watching a movie for 2 hours, and then I start an editing process. So you're talking between 8 and 10 total hours of processing the video, editing the video, recording the video, dealing with the audio, getting it uploaded, having a Patreon version, having a YouTube version, dealing with copyright, re-editing, reprocessing, right? For a 2-hour movie, you're doing a roughly 10 hours of work. And so 2 years ago, we made the financial decision that and my wife and I have not taken one penny out of all the money ever received from this channel.
Mhm.
All the money that I get from YouTube and from Patreon and from sponsors all go back into the channel.
Right.
The first 2 years were really just trying to get enough money to get a good enough computer to properly process videos and edit videos.
Right.
For the first year and a half, it took my main computer 7 hours to process a 2-hour movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, I'm to the point now where we've built out the system and I can process a full-length movie in about 40 minutes.
Yeah,
a half an hour, 28 minutes to 40 minutes, depending on the length. Yeah. So that was where all the money was going. Well, now I have a full-time editor that edits all of my stuff for the most part. And so all my money goes to him. Yeah. So, it's just, hopefully we'll get to the point one day where the channel's big enough and I can start getting some sponsorships and things along those lines. Because there are people like FWCI who is literally a full-time reactor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does for a living.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a second job that he goes to for 40 hours a week. He just watches content and edits content every single day of his life.
Yeah.
And I think that's tough. That's a tough life to live.
There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. As I've seen and heard, from lots of people, through this show, it's a big commitment. And for yourself, but getting to that point, there's a lot of things to check off, a lot of things put in place to make sure it's comfortable, lifestyle. And you mentioned, up front, just the task of editing everything yourself for the first couple of years. I definitely know what goes into that work. I know it's a lot. I know it's a big time sink away from your loved ones and from living your normal life. But were there any sort of significant learning curves, beyond that early on in terms of just getting comfortable in front of the camera, being able to articulate yourself and engage with the material?
I am to this day, I am not happy with my audio.
Right.
It's, I've moved 3 times. This is my 3rd studio.
Mm-hmm.
For the first year and change, I was in the basement of my house because we have 4 children. And it's not that big a house. Right. That was the only quiet space in this entire house for me to actually record something.
Right.
And it was, a big basement and there's no echo. And, my audio was probably the best audio I ever had with the crappiest mic when I was in the basement of this house. But now I have a full studio with a green screen behind me and proper lighting and, and all this up lighting and down lighting. And I have a, $700 camera and a $300 microphone. And I'm still to this day not happy with my audio. Right. So yeah, are there learning curves? Massive learning curves. Unless you have gone to film school and learned about camera equipment and lighting and audio and, all these different elements. Yes, there's massive learning curves. And I've worked with several reactors over the last 4 years. We have a specific Discord channel that exists only for reactors. Mm-hmm. Those are the only people that are allowed. Everybody else gets kicked. And so we work together diligently to talk about things like copyright issues, to talk about editing processes and audio issues and sharing our content with each other and having collaborations and things like that. And so I have taken a couple of reactors under my wing, had personal conversations with them, sat with them, and tried to work with whatever issues they were having and try and make their content better for them so they can be successful in this space. Mm-hmm. At one point, I flew to the United Kingdom for a collaboration.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I'm hoping to do more of that in the future. That right now, most collaborators, they'd want to do things via like this, right? Well, you're in one part of the world and I'm in another part of the world, but
Mhm.
you don't get that personal connection. You don't get to shake their hand. You don't get to give them a hug.
Right.
You don't get to see the space that they live in and understand the lives they live. And I really love that, flying over to England and spending time with Kev. And yeah, it was great. And I want to do more of that.
Yeah, yeah. Being able to sort of get more into the space helps a lot. Being able to glean information off of your peers and to also then pass it on to new people and stuff like that. It's a big aspect of the space that I think a lot of people find themselves being more keen on as you go on. Like doing this obviously as your own sort of project is important, but if you're able to sort of collaborate with people and make those friends, make those peers, I think that makes it even more special. And as you continue on with the channel, getting into again a few years now with it, how would you say your sort of relationship with the material with films has evolved over the years?
A lot. I mean, for the first 2 years, I think I knew 3 actors at one time. I could watch a film and I think I knew like 3 people in one film, and that was a big deal for the channel. Is that holy
Mhm.
crap? I knew 3 people in this movie, and I
Right.
think now my record is 7 or 8 people in one movie that I
Nice.
actually recognize from other content.
Yeah.
I'm getting better with names, understanding who people are, what their previous roles are, seeing things like Tom Hanks growing as an actor from, I think the earliest film I watched from him was like Big. I think maybe it was Big. I don't
Mhm.
know. But I've seen him all the way to the point where I've seen him watch Captain Phillips,
Right.
which was very interesting, a much older role, and and just comedy versus drama, and
Mhm.
things like that. And so I'm starting to appreciate that space. The I'm an actor space. This is
Mhm.
my catalog of movies and what I've accomplished throughout my life.
Right.
Um, Joaquin Phoenix. Before we started recording, you talked about the fact that you enjoyed my Village reaction.
Right.
I just one of my favorite films. I so fell in love with that movie, and specifically Joaquin Phoenix and his scene where he's sitting and talking to her on the porch. And then I recently watched a movie called Walk the Line.
Mhm.
But talk about 2 completely different roles in the space of his career.
Right.
Yeah, seeing actors and their scope of work and them progress through life and the roles that they take on has been great.
Mhm.
Another one is like Tom Cruise, right? I've seen him
Right.
in many things at this point,
Yeah.
and like him in Maverick playing that older role versus him in Top Gun, where he's this young stud.
Mhm.
It's interesting how Top Gun is a big film, and
Mhm.
obviously the industry is like, hey, we need to make more money off this franchise.
Right.
What possibilities are out there to take this character and mold it into something that people care about? And I think they were wholly successful
Mhm.
in that Top Gun kind of remake this character into something different.
Yeah, I agree.
And I really appreciated the way they went about doing that specifically for that film. Now, I've seen a couple of others sequels, and I didn't really appreciate the way they handled the content. like like a good example is Back to the Future.
Mhm.
Love, love, love Back to the Future 1.
Right.
Back to the Future 2 is a hot pile of mess. And then they kind of fix it. And they're like, yeah, we kind of screwed that. Let's make Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
And they do this whole Western thing. And I really enjoyed the third one, and I really enjoyed the first one. The second one is this weird hodgepodge mess of like, and I don't even think the actual going backwards, forwards, the actual time travel, I don't think that actually, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they screwed that up in the second one.
Yeah. Is there any specific aspect or element of Back to the Future 2 that you said that doesn't work for you? I guess like that you can
The
sort of elaborate
actual
on.
science behind
Science, the
them
science.
traveling back in time. And then what's the bad guy? Biff,
Biff.
right? Biff,
Yeah.
like taking the car, going to the future, giving himself the magazine, coming back to the past, right? Getting out of the car and him going, that's not the way time travel That's not the way time travel works.
Yeah, it's the construction of the story that it can kind of
No,
irk you a
that's
little
not
bit. Yeah,
the way. Scientifically, that's not the way it works.
I
That's not the way it works.
yeah, I really love Back to the Future too, but I have always said like almost my entire life it like doesn't really make sense. Specifically with like the way they set up time travel in the first film, like it doesn't really
Yes,
make sense the way they sort of explain that.
agreed. And they fix it in the third one.
Yeah, right.
It's like they're like, oh, brain fart. Hold on. Okay, let's make let's make another one.
Right.
But there's fun aspects to two. What was like the skateboard thing?
The
The
hoverboard, yeah.
hoverboard.
Yeah.
That was fun. The shoes that tie themselves. There's
Yeah.
some elements that are fun. The pizza where they throw the pizza in whatever device where it's
The hydration pizza, yeah, hydrated pizza,
big,
yeah.
and then it's this big,
Yeah.
There's fun aspects to that. I really wish some of that exists now.
Yeah.
But of course, it's all just special effects.
Of course, yeah. And you mentioned Tom Cruise. It's funny, yeah. I think Tom Cruise is probably one of the closest things we have now to still like a sort of traditional movie star. Like people know a Tom Cruise movie is going to have a certain quality to it that he is committed to. We know that Tom Cruise puts everything into his films. He's nuts. He'll do all the stunts himself and whatever, to make it a big spectacle. So I think that's a good example of like a movie star that we still have, in this day and age. And you mentioned Walking Phoenix too, being one of the actors that you recognize from other films. I'd love to see you watch Signs, another movie that he's in, particularly because
Signs will be coming out in October.
Oh, great! Yeah,
because I'm told that horror-ish, sideways horror.
Yeah, it's like
I am not.
thriller.
If you know my channel, I am not a horror fan. I do not do horror.
Yeah,
like it took me 2 separate releases to get through. Oh goodness, the guy chopping through the door.
The Shining. Yeah,
it took me. I had to stop recording. There was some horror aspects that I'm like, well, nope, stopping.
Yeah, right.
And so I don't do hardcore horror. I do what I call horror sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched last year. I watched because I do all my horror stuff in end of September, October, like most reactors. Final Destination was hilarious to me. A movie called Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Which has some horror elements, but it's much more comedy, I think, than horror.
Yeah.
I did watch Friday the 13th, which is supposed to be pretty hardcore horror, and I laughed so hard. It was so stupid.
That's early hardcore horror, so like some of it doesn't hold up as well, I think, in terms of modern sensibilities.
His arms are all like wobbly and stuff, and and I think I watched the doll Chucky.
Oh, Chucky, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the first movie is horrible. I'm gonna watch the second one, because they say it gets better. But the first one was super stupid. I would have chucked him into a fireplace.
Chucky, Child's Play. Yeah, that's definitely another franchise. It has a very distinct evolution within itself.
Good, because the first one's not good.
Yeah. Again, though, it's interesting. Hearing your perspective on a lot of these sort of classic films and classic franchises, because I think so much of it. The appeal that people have to it is either they saw it, when they were children or when it first came out. And so like that's just has a certain timestamp of, in cinema when it came out and has an impact on people. You have like the sort of luxury and sort of / handicap of like seeing it with a modern lens with like you're an adult. So seeing the Flintstones might not appeal to you the same way as like seeing Flintstones when you're a kid and so on back in the 90s. So yeah, it's interesting that you have that sort of, perspective on it.
A really good example of that is I watched a movie called The Poltergeist, which is a fantastic, I would say, horror film, right? But it was rated PG when it came out because PG-13 didn't exist. That didn't exist. There was no grading system, and so in the comments was these horror stories of like 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds watching Poltergeist of this girl getting like devoured by these creatures and sucked into the television, and like they're like dead bodies coming up through the ground, and like they're like, I was scarred for life based on this film.
Yeah.
There's probably 50 comments from people that were absolutely scarred for life because of that movie.
Yeah, I think that's such an important element of, again, your experience with the channel. You're able to obviously digest, some of these classic films yourself, and like you give your take on, your modern perspective of, what it means to you. But that's then informed by the comments and the audience that you have. And I guess how has that relationship, evolved itself over the years, like then the way that sort of impacts your, digestion of the material?
Yeah, I mean, I have a very unique perspective, I think, compared to a lot of reactors that have lived in the world of movies and television and things like that. There's only 3 television shows that I've ever watched in my entire life. I've watched Friends all the way through, I've watched Big Bang Theory all the way through, and I've watched How I Met Your Mother all the way through.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other TV shows in length my
Right.
entire life.
Yeah.
And so people that have been, watching television and movies their entire life, they have all these different mechanisms that have changed and altered their memory and the way they think about things and the way they see things. And I don't have that.
Right.
I go in blind. I don't know anything about this film. I have heard nothing about it. I've seen nothing about it. And I get some shocks on what movies are actually about compared to going into it. All I have is a title, and sometimes I have a year. So I got a movie the other day that I didn't know what the year was. All I knew was a title, and I have this perception in my brain of what it's going to be, and it's what I watch. I watched a movie called Harry or Henry or something about that. It's from like the 1940s or 50s, and it's about a guy who sees an invisible rabbit.
All right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that one coming. I think it's just people really appreciate my channel for my vast knowledge when it comes to just through my book readings. And I'm a car guy. I know cars. I know a lot about cars.
Yeah.
Like the My Cousin Vinny final scene with the whole positron. I figured that crap out.
Right.
I knew exactly what was going on as soon as they showed the picture of the tire tracks, and one was, had an actual burn on it, and the other one had no burn on it. I could tell instantly that.
Right. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's the wrong car. It didn't have positron.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I really love when people can apply, their specific, life, experience to the film and see that. I mean, obviously, cars, books, and you're like, again, you have experience obviously living on a farm growing up. So that's why I would love to see your reaction to science. And also another one would be Nope. Nope has a lot to do with like sort of farmhand stuff. Yes. Nope. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
I'll
that has
write that down.
Another channel, Blind Wave. Eric also, on that, he grew up on a farm, so he had a lot to say about like just like the farm style life, like so what that applies to some of the characters in the movie.
Well, and that was brought up in like Twister. I don't know if you know the story behind Twister. Twister was actually filmed in part in Iowa,
right?
And one of the things that's a big deal as a farmer is trucks. Trucks are very, very expensive, believe it or not, and specific trucks are sought after, and so there's usually not a large availability of these type of trucks. Well, when Twister came in, whoever is in charge, the procurement department, came in and bought 6 of a very specific type of truck that would be a farm truck. These are larger vehicles, F-250s, F-350s, dualies, things like that. These are for hauling very large loads, and they can carry a lot in the back of the truck. Anyways, they took 6 identical trucks off the lot, and that was a big deal. Even without me being part of movies, every farmer in the entire state knew they came in and bought 6 like F-350s from a dealership, and now there's no trucks available within 150, 200 miles of a dealership that nobody can buy. And so farmers were pissed. And so, and it was the new model. It was a brand new body type that had just come out. It was a sought after truck. And so it's mechanisms like that. Nobody, outside of Iowa would know that story.
Right.
So I bring to the table something a lot of people don't do, and that is I am a jack of all trades. I know how to do carpentry. I know how to do plumbing. I know how to do electrical. And so knowing those mechanisms, and just knowing the knowledge that it takes behind intricate things like that,
Mhm.
you can, like, watching a movie, there's like 100 times now I've been like, yeah, that's not how that works.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
we're
a bit
doing
of the
this,
movie
like,
magic. You have to
one
sort of
thing, it's like, well, that
yeah.
took 5 minutes. Nope, that's like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's what we call the suspension of disbelief.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, nope.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just go with the flow, go with what the movie's trying to get. Like, oh, okay, we can hand wave away. Like they fixed that thing in 5 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, we got to replace the transmission. Hold on a minute. And they just,
yeah, yeah. Movie tropes. Yeah, I get an element to that. I think a lot of people are privy to now. It's like when someone gets punched and they get knocked unconscious. You're like, that's a concussion. They would
yeah,
that's a
but
bigger
they
deal.
didn't
They
go to
would
the
not just
doctor.
they would not just wake up late like 2 minutes later with like a slight headache. Like so yeah, some of those things you get used to over time as you learn more about movies. Like, okay, some elements get a little bit glossed over film to film unless it's an important part of the plot.
And as a person that has this knowledge, though, I think we're doing a disservice by
Right.
glossing over some of these things, you know, and that is why I am so thankful that YouTube exists,
Mhm.
because I get people that are like, oh, well, I had to do this with my house or something like that. And guess what? I just went out to YouTube and watched this video and I changed my toilet by myself. It's something I
Right.
never thought I'd be able to do in my entire life. And I
Yeah.
just had to watch a YouTube video. I'm like, yeah, changing a toilet is stupid simple.
Yeah.
Like, of course you can change out a toilet. Like,
Right.
take some ownership in yourself, believe in yourself that you can do these things,
Yeah.
go educate yourself a little bit. And YouTube has that education for people to go and intake and learn and grow and and all those things. My channel is very much an entertainment channel.
Mhm.
But I try and teach knowledge that exists that I know that others might not know, like
Right.
why windmills exist. What's their purpose?
Right.
Right? Like, it got brought up in something, I don't know what I was watching. I think I was Breaking Bad or something.
Mhm.
And I talked about why windmills exist, and their whole entire is they're a water pump. That's all they are. They're
Yeah.
pumping water out and putting water into a thing called a cistern that's buried under the ground to keep it cool. And without that, you'd literally be hand pumping like the old days, right? Early 1900s. And
Mhm.
so windmills pump that water for you, and there's a bobber in the cistern, the thing that holds water. And when the bobber's full, it shuts the windmill off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, I love when, I can watch a reaction and get a little bit of education from people who are like, oh, it works this way because, we live here and like, that's the way this sort of mechanic things works. Yeah. I really love, when I watch a reaction, I can see people sort of, again, put themselves into the experience.
I try. That's how I just live my life. I put myself out there for whatever it is that I'm doing.
Right.
If you're not willing to put yourself out there and put 100% or 80% or 100% of your mind, body, and soul into a situation, why are you wasting your time and energy in doing it?
Mhm.
If you're not willing to do something well, you shouldn't be doing it.
Like you said, also strive to get the audio up to par with what you want.
I mean, I'd put my audio at like 70% of where I want it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, my audio sounds good because I'm not these peaks and valleys is the way I look at audio, right?
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
very mid-level. And the problem is when I'm laughing, I am peaking out the whole entire system.
Right.
People can hear me a block away when I'm really going at it. But
Yeah.
when I'm whispering, you're right, I'm down at the lower octave. And so you're dealing with these high screeches and these very low octaves. And audio technicians don't like that. And neither do audio equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes takes a little bit of work in the post process to
I
clean
have
that up.
hired professional audio people, and they still haven't figured it out.
It's a ever growing process. But with the reactions again, like being able to have comedies, have just films that where you can inject your own intelligence into it. One important aspect of I think any reaction channel today is the sort of emotional side of it, and the emotional element of getting into like a really good movie that draws you in, a movie to tears or whatever. It's something that again, a lot of people struggle with to get comfortable on camera doing, because it's just sort of unnatural in our society, just be able to be open with yourself and open publicly to people to view you as you're sort of experiencing those emotions. I guess, how has that relationship with the channel been for you starting out, just being able to cry on camera, to like, get emotional and to share that with people?
I've had no issues expressing my emotions throughout most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big-hearted guy. I try and take the shirt off my back for people in need, that really need my help. And so when we run into situations where, yeah, it's in someone's dying, or especially dogs, holy crap, I am not going to get through a dog movie without bawling.
Right.
Like Marley and Me. Oh,
Yeah.
Turner and Hooch, bawling.
Right.
Horrible. But there's other movies that were quite sentimental. A Fault in the Stars really hit me hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cancer patient movie. So yeah, no, I have no problem showing emotion associated with reactions. And I think my audience has come to expect that of me. So like even in The Help, there was a moment that it just tore me apart. So yeah, no, I have no problem showing emotion. I want my audience to see who I am, and if that includes tears, so be it.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I really love that, again, because it's just for a lot of people, it's difficult for them to sort of like, I think, be conscious of themselves being on camera and then also feel those emotions, and then being able to think like, okay, I need to let it happen. Just let it happen. Don't turn, don't shy away. Just sort of like, let people experience it.
I actually forget that I'm on camera. I get yelled at because I'm not like looking at the camera ever, that I'm looking at my monitor the whole entire time and I'm not paying attention to the audience. I wish there was some technology that could like put a camera directly in my screen.
Right.
That way I'm always looking at, yours is pretty good, but I can tell you're looking down.
A little bit down. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the camera has to be above the screen.
Yeah.
At one point, it was below the screen, kind of looking up at me, and that was just super weird. You're like, why are you staring at me like that? It looks like I'm your child, and you're like looking down at me.
Right. Yeah. I think it's I think that's the sort of goal, I think, of any channel, is to like forget the camera's there, just let the experience, take over you, and like, let it be very genuine with the material.
I let movies engross me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be part of that world. And when something happens to a character, it's happening to me.
Yeah, that's a great way to get into it, to dive into it, and going in blind as well. I think that helps with the experience that you have, which is just being able to see everything sort of like with a blank slate, just getting into it wholeheartedly.
Well, an interesting aspect of that is like I just watched the Clue, not the Clue, just Clue. That movie is kooky. I loved it, but you get 3 endings
Right.
in that movie, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, when it came out in theaters, you got 1 ending.
Mm-hmm.
And it was said that like by the way, there's 3 endings. And I guess in like newspapers, they would actually post ending 1, ending 2, ending 3, and what times.
Yeah.
The endings are occurring in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
And so people were like drawn in to go to this movie 3 times and pay 3 times. And then when it came out on VHS, I think it's old enough for VHS.
I think so. Yeah.
They got all 3 endings.
Yeah. You finally see all 3.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a really interesting approach to movies, like to get these like double and triple revenue streams, because you're like, oh, you want the second one? Here's a little candy. Come
Yeah.
this way,
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting aspect of again your experience is that sometimes you're missing some of these sort of like like cultural context of some of these films. Again, that makes this it's very unique to you with your relationship with the material. But yes, there are certain things within the making of a film, or like when it came out, like the time it came out, films during COVID that how it impacted their production and stuff like that that influence the ways those sort of come together.
I have not run into any of that because I don't think I've seen any movie past 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just watched Happy Gilmore 2.
All right.
That just literally came out, but I think that's literally the newest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like that would be indicative of like the streaming era of films that we have now through Netflix and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's another aspect of my channel is going in blind. So many people have appreciated that because they're like, the previews ruined this film for me.
yeah,
I've gotten so many comments that said the preview destroyed. They took every funny part of this entire movie and put it in a preview.
yeah,
And now that joke's not funny because I've
Yeah.
already known it's coming. It didn't like good slapstick, good comedy is the not knowing the line is coming,
hmm
right? Not knowing the moment is coming, not knowing what's going to happen to this character
yeah,
in their life. And
yeah.
I think it's a better way of watching a movie going in blind.
It's the ideal way, I think. I think movies, are often constructed with the idea like they don't expect people to know this part, this element's going to come up right away. What in the film. That's something you glean from the trailers and then marketing and so on. So it's a great way for you to experience with it.
I would love a movie poster come out with just a genre and the name of the movie. Maybe throw an actor on the poster or something like that. Not a picture, just the name.
Yeah,
Just a black background, a genre, a title, and a couple of the actors that are in it.
yeah.
Just so they're forced to go in blind.
Yeah, there's one movie I think again to recommend. I think I would like you to try watching. It's called Cloverfield.
Cloverfield.
Yes, yeah. Put it
Is
on.
that 2 words?
Yeah, one word.
Cloverfield, 1 word.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see you watch it. Again, to keep it blind. When the first trailer came out to it, it came out. It was a teaser trailer. All it said was 1/18/08, which was the date that it was going to come out, and that was it.
Okay.
And so it had a very unique marketing experience for everyone to experience. When it was coming out in theaters. So I would like to see your experience going in blind, just like how
And
that
did it
translates
do
to today.
well with that approach?
It did, yeah. It drove up a lot of buzz. People were really interested in what is this? The mystique, the intrigue about it. So yeah, it was a very unique experience when it was coming out in theaters.
Okay. Is the movie about bees? Because you said there's a lot of buzz involved.
No, no.
I thought you were giving me a little hint there.
No. Yeah, yes. I'll let you go in blind as you usually do. So I would love to see.
Okay, good.
I don't know if you'll like it or not, but I would be interested to see.
What's the genre?
Found footage, which
Found?
is yeah. So I'm not sure if that's something I'm not sure if you've watched the found footage yet on the channel. It's basically a subgenre of like horror/thriller where it's filmed like POV. So it's like someone's carrying a camera around like a handy cam.
Oh, okay.
So it's that kind of thing. So kind of like the Blair Witch Project, another famous one, that came out a long time ago. Yeah. So that's one of the more iconic ones. So yeah, it's something like this. It might be your first found footage film on the channel. So we'll see. Yeah.
I'll put it on the list. There's only like 1,400 movies on the list so far.
I get there one day. But yeah, it's sort of, to wrap things up here. What has been the most consistent obstacle that you faced with the channel?
It's starting to become an issue. Copyright is always an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I'm very strict with my edits that no point of the film is allowed to be shown that's more than about 3 seconds.
Right.
Because I've seen channels laying out 7, 8, 10, 14 seconds of a movie, and it gets destroyed within 2 days of being released, right?
Yeah.
And so my edits are very harsh. We still make sure you get the content. It's just blurred content versus this whole entire image every single time. And I get people are like, stop talking during your reactions, right? Show more of the movie. I'm like, do you not understand what a reaction channel is?
Yeah.
If you want to go watch the movie, go watch the movie. Stop coming to my channel.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. So that's an issue, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The time involved from a reaction standpoint, if you don't have a full-time editor, this will take up the majority of your life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially if you have a job, right? If you have a job and you have a family, say goodbye to your family for a while.
Right.
This will take up the vast majority of your time.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to edit movies, then that will also take up the vast majority of your time, is starting out with how you edit movies, because it's not just simply cut, take a clip out, put them together. That's not it. You have to have a knowing of how to construct a story properly, what elements of a movie is important for the audience to see,
mm-hmm.
and to not get cut out. And I think that was a bigger problem for me the first 2 years, because I don't know this content. And there was many movies I got torched because I deleted one scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was an important scene.
Yeah, that's true.
To leave in the movie.
Yeah.
But luckily my editor, who, knows all of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore he knows these high points that have to be left in.
That makes sense.
In order for it to be a good edit.
Yeah.
And I don't think a reaction channel is doing itself a disservice by not having a third party understand the content and say, here's 5 scenes that you have to leave in your edit.
Right. That makes sense.
That, if you delete, like, what's a scene like Jerry Maguire, right? Him talking to Renee, whatever her last is.
Zellweger, like, yeah.
You complete me. If this was taken out of an edit, you would be destroyed. They would destroy. You would get so many dislikes and unsubscribes and destroyed that one scene. Or show me the money, right? It has to be in the movie.
Yeah.
If it's not, your audience is not going to be happy with your edit.
Yeah, that's what people are coming for.
A big pain point, I think, for reactors when editing your own content and you don't know the material. You don't have that, like, 30 years of being a part of this world and knowing this one line is called on 15 other different times in movies and TV shows and in life.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of it.
Yeah. Like, that's totally understandable. Yeah, it's hard to understand, what's iconic if you're going into this 100% blind. You can't really translate that to the edit. And I guess, how have you personally grown over your time with the channel?
A lot. My children are so happy. I get so many more. Like, okay, so we have dinners on Sunday nights, as a family does. We come together. My wife and I, at this point, are empty nesters. Our last child just went off to boot camp in the Army. And we're very proud of him and all the service people that exist in this world.
Right.
And so we're empty nesters, but we still come together as a family on Sundays. And so movie references have always been a touchy topic around the dinner table because I didn't get 100% of them.
Right.
And so now, those topics are coming up. Arguments. There was an argument recently. I watched a movie recently and I got yelled at because I hadn't seen it yet. And they were certain that I'd already seen it. It was Police Academy because, okay, so the guy who makes noises with his mouth, whoever he is, he was coming to the Funny Bone, which is a comedy venue here in Des Moines, Iowa. And so the kids wanted, Dad, I do this. We went and saw Weird Al Yankovic together. I love Weird Al. I'm a big music fan as well. That's something everybody had on the farm, is you have headphones on and, I always take the boys out and pay for the tickets because they broke. They never have money.
Right.
And they wanted to go see this guy that makes voices with his mouth. And I'm like, I don't know who this is, and I don't want to ruin any future reaction I might have.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know who he is. He was in Police Academy. And I'm like, I haven't seen Police Academy. And so there was quite an argument at the table. And so I had to react to Police Academy.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to get to it before he came to town, and he's gone now.
Right.
And so now I know who this gentleman is and the fun voices that he makes with his mouth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, conversations like this happen all the time. But so the next time he comes to town, we'll definitely go see him at the Funny Bone, and I can experience his mouth play, in person.
Yeah, you'll be ready. You'll be ready for that one. And I guess the final question is, beyond any monetary or financial value, what was the most rewarding aspect of the channel for you?
Community.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to community. I have such great fans of my channel, and they tell me what their thoughts are, and I so appreciate their open-mindedness and sometimes their closed-mindedness. And me maybe saying the right thing and opening up that space a little bit for them. And bringing up issues that exist in this world that we make a big deal out of. But if you study history, really, those have been talked about for 100 frickin' years. And we're doing the same exact crap now that we were doing 60 years ago.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely hilarious, the political side of our world and how we're talking about issues that have existed for 50 years. And
Right.
they're still the exact same issue. Do you really think this president or this Senate or House or whoever you want to think about is going to make a change that has existed for 50 years and 10 other presidents and 10 other Senates and 10 other Houses have dealt with the issue and it's still the same problem?
Right.
So the community comes together, and in the comments you get reply after reply after reply after reply, and the same is true for my Patreon members who I adore, and they'll reach out to me and talk about something like my mother. There's been an ongoing journey with my mother and her cancer journey that's been very, very difficult. And she is cancer-free at this point in time. She did have to start chemo back up and things like that, but she is cancer-free right now, and we're hoping it stays that way. And I've had so many people reach out to me and talk about their cancer journey and how they're praying for my family, and I can pray for theirs. And it's great. It really is great. It's something that I didn't expect. It makes me want to keep going.
Yeah, that connection.
Yeah.
People. Yeah. It's that's a really big aspect of what makes this space really special, is being able to connect people over shared material like movies, storytelling in general, is I think a big unifier in just the evolution of human history. And so I think this space is such a great opportunity for people to reach out to one another and learn from each other about hey, this is what's happened in my life, this is how this story applies to me, and so on. And just being able to, like you said, being open-minded to each other is really important in that regard.
Well, and a great example is this whole South Park thing with Adam from FWCI. Like, I know nothing about this world of adult cartoons that exist.
Right.
And without him and, him leading me down that path, I would have never known it existed.
Right.
And so now, I have a couple episodes out on the channel, and I'm probably going to watch whatever this movie is that exists because of it.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for the connections that I have and the people that are endorsing this new kind of open side to me, because I am a very family-oriented channel.
Right.
Every single swear word is bleeped or altered in some way. I have ducky noises and horse noise, farm noises that go over top of swearing. There's no nudity, of course.
Right.
And so me who's quite sheltered, I'll agree, in this atmosphere, opening myself up to this adult cartoon, they want to see my reaction to that. Like,
Yeah.
what does a sheltered person in this world see from this type of content?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a novelty in itself for sure. So I think people will get a kick out of that, and you can bring your own experience and charm to it. We do have our final questionnaire that we give to everyone, 10
Sure.
questions down the line. The first one being, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Friends.
It's a classic one. Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen every single episode at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
It's the back. Like, do people do this? It's like the background show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
it's a show.
You're cooking and something, and you just have this show in the background, and you hear a line, and you kind of know the scene.
Yeah. It's background show when you're cooking, when you're falling asleep, like whatever, just like a comfort show.
I don't know about the falling asleep one, but I'll agree to the cooking and cleaning is generally
Right.
This show is kind of in the background.
Right. What's your favorite film of all time?
Oh, why would you do that?
That's a little more difficult. Yeah.
Probably Forrest or Shawshank.
Shawshank's great.
Would be
Forrest, great,
up there really high.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed The Village, but there's one aspect of The Village that I would want changed for it to be within my top 5.
Yeah.
I think those are pretty high up there.
That's great picks. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll throw in another one for you specifically. What's your favorite book of all time?
Oh, favorite book of all time. I could go with some obscure thing that people would know, but I'll do a more general, like, how about we just look like Harry Potter?
Okay.
It's probably one of the greatest character development books
Mhm.
that has ever existed. I will say I've probably read over 1,000 books in my life. And my favorite fictional character that has ever existed in any book ever is Tyrion Lannister.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
His inner monologue in those books is the absolute best inner monologue you will ever experience in a book series.
Mhm.
He is so far ahead of any opponent. It's hilarious to listen to his monologue in the books.
That's great.
The show, whoever they picked, Peter, whatever his last name is,
Peter Dinklage. Yeah.
Yes, Dinklage. He is an absolute fantastic pick for this character.
Mhm.
His portrayal of Tyrion is spot on.
Yeah,
but
it's really fantastic.
You are doing yourself a disservice if you love that character by not reading the books.
Yes, again, because you get so much internalization of his character.
His internal monologue is so beyond anything I've ever read. And I'm so upset that the author, he probably will never finish the books.
Doesn't look likely at this point.
I'm afraid that possibly the series has now tarnished him moving forward with those books and, doing something with them.
It's possible. It's possible. It's definitely influenced his, his inspiration or his enthusiasm towards finishing them. So let's have to wait and see. Our next question is, what helps you relax?
Oh, my family. Spending time with them. We're big. I enjoy the outdoors.
Right.
We do a lot of, camping. I find building things, working with my hands, very methodical, and it lightens my load.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just finished a complete my wife's pantry. She was never pleased with it, so I gutted her entire pantry and ripped out walls, and now she has a beautiful pantry and with a barn door that automatically opens and closes, and she's pretty pleased with it. I have some more she has some painting to do and I have some lighting to do and things like that. But she's very pleased with it compared to what it was. It was just shelves and you couldn't see what was in the back of the shelves.
Yeah.
There was no lighting. You had no clue what was in the back versus what was in the front. And now everything pulls out all the way. You can get all the way to the back of the,
Yeah.
So I enjoy that aspect.
That's great. Yeah.
To the point where my wife and I are seriously considering about moving because I have pretty much done everything I can to this house.
Mm-hmm.
The house is done at this point. We've been here for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've done everything to it.
Yeah.
We have the largest deck in the entire city. And so I'm pretty much done with this house, and it's to the point where we might have to move, so I have new projects to work on.
Yeah,
my
just
friends
start
are
over.
all just like, "Why? Just come to my house, and you can fix all the crap in my house that's wrong with it."
Yeah, you go over there and make some extra scratch. Yeah. On the opposite end of that, what stresses you out?
Right now, society stresses me out.
I think, like you said, that's a ever-going issue. Yeah.
How mean people are, unaffectionate, uncaring, not willing to understand that just because you don't know the person that's sitting or standing or driving next to you doesn't mean that they don't have the same hardships you have, that they don't have the same joys that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all put our pants on the same way. We all take baths and showers. We all go to doctors to help heal us. Like, we're really not that different.
Right.
When it comes to across the entire globe. Yes, our skin might be different and our society might be a little bit different and the way we approach things might be different. But at the end of the day, we care about taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family and children, and prospering in some light. At the end of the day, making things better for our family and friends and the people around us. And we should all have the same goals. And I think that's something that we're missing is, as a society in the United States, we're supposed to have a Democratic Party, an Independent Party, and a Republican Party, and they're supposed to work together to make this country better. As a whole. We're supposed to negotiate. We're supposed to bargain. It's not supposed to be a one side versus the other side. And I think we've lost sight of that. We used to work together as a society and care about, like, yeah, okay, well, I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat and you have these needs and I have these needs. Is there a way for us to work together and to try and find a middle ground for those needs?
Yeah.
Instead of just it's my way or the highway, and you can, you're a horrible person and you are a horrible being just because you have a different viewpoint than I do. I think it's just a horrible thing that we're doing to our society right now. And I really wish people would be more tolerable towards different viewpoints when it's just a viewpoint in time. And that viewpoint could change 10 years from now or 5 years from now or 5 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. And, nothing will stay constant. If there's anything that we can prove out in this universe is there is no content. There's no constant. Everything will change. Mm-hmm. It might take a week. It might take a month. It might take 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. But it will change.
Yeah.
It might not change in your lifetime. It might change next week. But things are going to change. And so instead of being such hard-lined individuals on one side or the other, we need to be more cohesive and we need to bend a little here and there, especially on the edges when it doesn't really affect your life, but it might make a big improvement for somebody else's.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's very well said. Very well said. Additionally to the helping you relax, on top of all that, what is a hobby or passion you have outside of TV and film and books, I guess, outside of that?
I'm a golfer. I enjoy golfing. I'm a pretty good golfer, actually. And so I do enjoy that. I don't have as much time for it as I would like. I have a very hectic schedule to the point where I have to have a family calendar, and then I have to have a reaction channel calendar.
Right.
And so any piece of content that you see on my channel, time had to be put aside for the recording of, getting it edited, getting it processed, getting, posters and backgrounds and getting uploads done and scheduling uploads. And we have Patreon, and we have YouTube versions, Patreon versions, there's a lot that goes into having a reaction channel. And so I can easily say that I'm putting 20 hours a week besides my normal life
Right.
into this channel.
That makes sense. Similarly to, I guess, what we're talking about with maybe Tyrion, what is what fictional character do you relate to or just care deeply about?
A fictional character I care deeply about?
Yeah.
None. They're fictional. They're not real.
That's a great point.
Like, do I care? No. I mean,
or maybe that you're really invested in. Yeah.
There's a book series called The Dresden Files.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good book series, and there is 12 or 14, I think, in the series.
Yeah.
And the author is supposed to do 23. He's said this over and over and over again, 23. Mm-hmm. And the last 3 books is the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been 4 years since the last book came out. And so if it takes 4 years, 5 years to make each one of the books, I'm going to be dead before the last book finally comes out.
Right.
So I would love for just authors to understand, once they've started this boulder, right? They start at the top of the mountain and this boulder rolls down and it gains traction. It gains mass. It gains velocity. And then lately, authors have just been like, nah. It hit a tree and it stopped rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have, this is a book series that's been on the New York Times bestseller list. It's got millions of copies sold, over 16 books. And there's nothing to be heard of for 4 years.
Yeah. Which is still a blip in the comparison to the Ice and Fire books, where that's currently at.
Well, no, that's been a decade.
Yeah.
The last book, the 4th book, came out 10 years ago. That's when I read it. And so that's why the Patreons felt comfortable saying, hey, you need to watch the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a decade. How much do you really remember from the books?
Right.
And they're right. I don't remember squat from the book.
Yeah.
And plus them throwing in all these other elements that I'm just like racking my brain going, I don't remember this at all. Like, did this happen in the books?
Yeah. It might help for the experience. Yeah.
Oh, that's why I don't remember it.
Yeah. What guilty pleasure show or film do you have? Maybe if any, because you're still learning about all this. So it's your guilty pleasure.
A guilty pleasure?
Yeah. So you might be a new concept to you, actually.
It is.
Yeah, it's usually a show or film where it's sort of usually panned or people don't like it as much, but you really love it.
I don't think I have one of those.
Yeah, that's a new one for you. I guess I realized as I was asking it, I think you might have crossed that threshold yet.
I don't think I have one of those.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's a good way to live.
I mean, a good comedy. I really appreciate a good comedy.
Yeah.
But the more I'm watching comedies, the more I'm realizing there's like subgenres as part of that mechanism.
Yeah.
So like I watched The Proposal, right? This is a romance comedy type of situation. And then you have your like a Rush Hour. I watched that. And American Pie was, oh my gosh, I need to get back to that series because I absolutely laughed my butt off at that. But it had some serious editing problems. And YouTube doesn't specifically like that content.
Yeah.
You get a mature rating and it will destroy your channel.
Yeah. I can imagine.
But now I've like watched Police Academy, and Police Academy is more of like a off the wall, like I want to say slapsticky kind of comedy.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like a left and a right and and just kind of they're bopping and weaving and smacking you here and there and stuff comes out of complete nowhere.
Yeah.
That you didn't expect, like the whole podium scene in Police Academy. Never ever in my entire life would I expect that scene to exist in a movie.
Right.
And I laughed my butt off. It was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Stuff coming out of nowhere in my brain is great because I can anticipate most things.
Mm-hmm.
And so something like that I just couldn't anticipate. I love that aspect.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's really great. Again, for your particular experience, I think that works really well.
Yeah.
What show or film gave you your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
Favorite reaction experience?
Yeah.
Well, people love the fact that I couldn't get through The Shining. They think that's flipping hilarious.
Right.
I really loved Forrest Gump and the whole scene where he finds out he has a son. And his very first question is he smart,
Yeah.
Loved that aspect. It's these little things that catch me off guard. Like what I watched a movie, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
And the director walking just evaporating.
Right.
just
yeah. Again, things coming out of left field, for you.
My eyeballs got we didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I love stuff like that. Happy Gilmore is one of my favorite reactions I think I've ever done. Because it's just a movie that I wasn't prepared for, and I'd never seen an Adam Sandler movie before.
Right.
And I've seen a bunch of his content now. 50 First Dates was hilarious. Her beating the crap out of his friend with a bat caught me so off guard.
Yeah.
That, I laughed for 2 or 3 minutes because she just got so into it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, I really adore those moments. But then you get the other side, where I just caught off guard and I'm just bawling over a really well done movie.
Yeah. Both, like, again, the full spectrum of the experience. Yes, the emotions, the laughs. So yeah, that's great. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably The Village. I so enjoyed that movie.
Give it another go.
I enjoyed The Sixth, because this is the same director, right? The guy that did The Sixth Sense is the guy that did The Village.
Yes.
I enjoyed The Sixth Sense, but I figured it out so quickly that it, kind of didn't make for the best experience by the end of the movie.
Right.
So I think I would be happy to replace that. The MCU series has a couple of big moments.
All right. Yeah.
That I would love to get that out of my brain and watch that again for the first time. But my problem with the MCU stuff is they just keep going and going. And I had to create a list. My boys curtailed a list. Here's the movie and what order you need to watch them in.
Yeah.
And here's the 20 more movies that exist after this point.
Yeah.
We want you to get to Endgame, basically. They wanted me to get to Endgame. They're like, okay, get to here. And then there's 20 more movies after that.
Yeah, that's the halfway point, essentially. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, there's more? There's more of this?
Yeah, it's like a TV series at this point. Yeah.
Oh, and they bring that up. They're like, oh, by the way, here's 20 more movies. And there's 7 different film adaptations of different characters that exist within this franchise as well.
Yeah, now they have the shows. Now they have the spin-offs and so on. Yeah.
It's so much content. I don't even know how a normal human being is absorbing this amount of content.
Yeah, I think it's a little easier for, I guess, some of us who have been just keep up with it as it comes out, but I can imagine watching it in its entirety, like seeing the full scope of it, from day one, it could be really, really daunting.
I had to take an entire month. I did MCU Madness month, which was this last March.
Yeah.
I only released 2 movies a week. I released on Mondays and I released on Fridays.
Mhm.
I had to release a movie every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for an entire month just to get to Endgame.
Yeah, just make a dent in the
because
timeline.
It would have taken me 5 years
Right.
to get to that point.
Yeah. It was taking a while.
And now they want me to do another one. They want me to do like other franchises that have lots of movies.
Yeah.
They want me to take entire months out of my release schedule and just watch that franchise, like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those, right? I've
There's
seen
like-
one. I've seen
there's
one of those movies, and I'm a car guy.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the card thing will inspire you to keep going. Yeah.
Right, but they're like Rocky. I've only seen two Rockies. There's
Mhm.
like 5 Rockies or 7 billion Rockies or who knows how many.
Yeah.
And they're like, why don't you just watch one every single week? I'm like, because that would be a lot.
Yeah.
What if it's not popular at all and I'm destroying my entire channel by
you
watching your content?
gotta find the balance.
4 or 5 times in a row.
Yeah, we've got to find the balance within that for sure.
And there's like a bunch that they want me to do this to,
Mhm.
that they just keep more of these movies and more and more and more. Like somebody told me there's like 15 Police Academy movies.
I don't know if there's that many, but there's a lot.
And I'm like, are they all good? No, they're not.
That's the question. Yeah.
They're not. I'm like, okay, well then why would I watch that?
Right. Yeah. I think the MCU is probably going to be the biggest one that you tackle. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of some other franchises with a lot of entries in it.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan,
Mm-hmm.
and so someone had to like detail this list that I was allowed to watch one more Spider-Man after Endgame.
Right.
And then I had to go back in time and watch like 5 Spider-Man movies
Right.
that existed before MCU ever existed.
Yeah, the early versions of that character. Yeah.
Even though they're all MCU characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to go forward and catch up on a new Spider-Man that's more recent.
Yeah, and some of that clicks into place, and you'll see why as you watch it. But yeah, some of it.
But I'm like, why do they have to make it so complicated?
Yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for the reaction community who goes through that watch and has to like jump around like that.
I have to watch 5 movies so I can watch one movie.
Yeah, it becomes a lot of homework at some point.
It is a lot.
Yeah. And the final question we have here for you is, what advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
Get an editor.
Good advice. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we could have afforded it.
Mhm.
The channel was young and barely making money. Like not making money, but barely getting any money in the door at all.
Yeah.
And so editors are expensive. A good editor is expensive. I'll alter that. A good editor is expensive. A good example of that is I have a second channel. It was called Awesome Shows because we kept trying to release shows on Awesome US Movies and nobody wanted to watch them because it was a movie channel. It's not a TV reaction channel. And so I created a second channel called Awesome Shows and I have them edited TV shows. It was costing me thousands of dollars. Like Breaking Bad, right? It's 7 seasons or 6 seasons, and you're talking about 150, 200 episodes. And so I'm spending thousands of dollars to get it edited and released on this second channel. I made $112.
Right. Yeah.
Is what I made.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it took 3 years.
Right. Watching it one at a time. Yeah, absolutely.
So like the amount of time and money and energy put into something like that, it's difficult. Like they want me to put Game of Thrones on the channel. They want it edited. And you're talking about an hour-long show. It's HBO, so it's literally an hour-long show.
Right.
It's not 42 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
and there's a bazillion of them. And so
Yes,
it's going to cost me between $4,000 and $5,000 to get them edited.
Yeah. In its entirety, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
And with no guarantee you're ever going to make any of that money back.
Mm-hmm.
The way, and also for any reactor out there that thinks they're going to start a channel, the way a reaction channel makes money is years of content.
Mm-hmm.
Years of content that exists out there, that some of your videos are getting 1 hit, 2 hits a day, right? But if you have 300 or 400 movies out there and they're all getting 2 hits, 5 hits, 3 hits a day, you're getting to the point where your channel can actually make a little bit of money.
Right.
If you're starting out, you're not making a penny. You're losing. All you're doing is putting time and effort into something that you're never going to make any money off of until you're years down the line.
Yeah, it's getting that backlog built up. Yeah,
unless you're, a crazy person that is amazing and you catch on virally in some manner and you get, 2, 3, 400,000. I've been doing this for 4 years and I have never, ever had a reaction go over 100,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
I think Forrest Gump is the highest reaction I have on my entire channel, and I'm at like 60,000 views. Yep. And it's been out there for 3 years.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So unless you have something that you're getting that publicity, you're getting that those crazy numbers of 100,000+, it's a long road.
It's a long game. It's a long game to long haul to
you have to be stubborn, and you have to be anal, and you just have to keep trucking along. You just got to keep moving and just know there are rainbows and sunshines and puppy dogs at the end of this journey.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah, to keep trucking along for the long game. James, thank you so much for coming on today. I really had a blast just going to chat with you about your life and your perspective, on things so far.
Well, I appreciate spending some time with you, Eric.
Yeah, it was really great. Where can we find you on YouTube, social media, anywhere otherwise?
I am on YouTube. My channel is called Awesome US Movies. I have a second channel called Awesome Reactions. It exists, but there's a couple years of content for old TV shows and stuff like that if you won't like that. My Patreon, of course, is at Awesome US Movies, and all of my Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that is Awesome US Movies. So come to my channel if you want a very good belly laugh experience. Right. And if you want heartfelt reactions, just all I ask is check me out. And if you don't like it, I understand people have different likes. But if you watch one of my reactions, I guarantee that I will make your day just that much better.
Good sell. Good sell for yourself. I like that. You can find me at Nerdchronic across social media. You can find us at the Reactorverse across social media as well. You'll find links to our Patreon and Discord down below. We'll catch everyone on the next episode.